Hi, and welcome to another video by Jim the Car Guy. Today we have a 2011 Chevy Silverado. We're going to be changing the front brake pads, rotors, and we're also going to replace the hardware kit that goes on the mounting bracket to secure the new brake pads for two reasons. But I'll explain that to you once we get up front. So let me bring you up there. I'm going to show you what kind of tools you're going to need, and then we're going to get started and get this job wrapped up. So come on, let's take a walk up front. Okay, so this is an example of what we're going to need to get this job done. Yes, I am going to replace the rotor like I told you. So, but this is the rotor. Now, when you get a rotor, it actually comes with an oily film on it. So we're going to need to clean off that film that's on here before we put it on the vehicle. That's when some brake cleaner and a rag come in pretty handy to do that. You're going to need a file such as this to clean off any kind of rust that's on the mounting bracket, something to hang the caliper by. This, I believe, is a 19mm socket. The longer the ratchet handle you have, the better off it's going to be because you'll get more leverage out of it. We are going to change the brake pads, and we are going to need a disc like this to clean off the mounting where the rotor mounts onto the hub itself. Some synthetic brake grease, and we are going to change the hardware kit on here as well. Now the reason we're going to change this hardware kit is, as you can see, he's had these little tabs sticking up on here. What happens is the brake pads go in here, and when you apply the brake pad, this pushes in, and when you take your foot off the brake, it pushes the brake pads back away from the rotor, and thereby reducing the drag on the brakes while you're not applying them. Alright, so what we're going to do first is we're going to come in here with a pry bar. We're going to pry that piston back into the bore right up in here, and here it's a dual piston, and we're going to check these slide pins here to make sure that these slide pins here and here are still moving nice and freely. So first thing we're going to do is we're going to get in here with a pry bar. If you don't have a pry bar, you can use a screwdriver. You go in the back over here like this, and then we pry on it. And push that piston back in as far as you can. Same thing down here. Push that piston back in. And then what we're going to do is we're going to check these slide pins to make sure that they're okay before we go any further. If they slide back and forth, then they're good. And as you can see, they slide pretty freely. We are going to lubricate them, of course, before we do anything, like putting it back together, but they are okay. Alright, so alright, let's get set up, and then we're going to get started. Now, what I was telling you about that cleaner is when you take this rotor off, we're going to have to clean the mounting area underneath here that the new rotor is going to go on to. So, alright, let me get set up and we'll get started. Okay, let's take this and turn a little bit so you can see and hear what we're doing. And now we're going to break this bolt here loose and this bolt here. Once they break loose, they pretty much come out fairly simply. Now you never want to let the you don't want to lose your bolts. Now we're going to take our caliper and we're just going to bring it off to the side right now. Now I'm going to show you this here. These pistons did not push in all the way. You can see how they're still out just a little bit. So we will need to push these back in. So you know what? Let's do this right now. Hey, what's up?
How you doing?
All right. The way we push those pads back in place there is you just take the. I hope you can see that. Okay. Yep. All right. We'll put the brake pad in here like this. And we're going to put the other brake pad in here like this. Now you can use your old brake pads, but it's better off using the new ones because you only have to push it in a little bit. You won't have to push it in far. Let me get this set up and I'll explain to you what I'm doing. Okay, so what we're doing now is we're just pushing these pistons back into the bore. This tool here is just pushing the pistons back in nice and slow. You don't have to go really hard. You just turn it nice and slow and it pushes them in. And when they're pushed in as far as they can go, then you can take your brake pads out, take the tool off, and we'll continue. Now we're just going to take our caliper, take it off to the side just like this, and hang it off to the side just like that so it doesn't get in the way. Now we're going to take out these bolts here, this one and this one here. I am going to use the air gun just for the sake of time. Them. We'll take this off, and we'll come back to this in just a minute. The rotor comes off, just like that. Now the area I was telling you about that need to be cleaned up, as you can see, it's extremely rusty in here. There's a lot of rust underneath everything inside here. So we are going to clean this off. I am going to use a disc like this to get in here and clean it off, but if you don't have a disc, you can get in here with emery cloth or whatever you have. Alright, so let me clean this off. Once I get it cleaned off, then we'll come back. Okay, so just so you know, I did clean this off with the brake cleaner. We're going to put this on here like this. What I usually do is I'll screw a lug nut onto it to hold the rotor in place while you're working. Right? Okay, next thing we're going to do now is we're going to come to our mounting bracket. Now these are actually kind of rusty, so we're going to take these out. Sometimes they get pretty rusty. And now the reason you want to replace these hardware with new is you see how these are, let me show you. You see how these pieces here are bent in, and that one is pretty straight. See? These are already done their job by pushing the brake pad out, and they start to get destroyed after a while. Plus, if you look up underneath here, there's one, and this one here is broken off. Alright, now the next thing we're going to do is we're going to take this hardware off. We just pull it, and it comes right off. Same thing here, pull it, and it comes off. Now, these are usually pretty rusty underneath here, so what we're going to do is, you see this mounting surface right in here? You need to get in here with the file, or sandpaper, emery cloth, whatever you have. You need to clean that off so that this is a nice clean surface inside here. So we're going to clean this off, and we're going to clean this off here as well, and then we'll come right back. Okay, so now after we've cleaned up that mounting bracket, we're just going to put a little bit of grease underneath where the new mounting bracket is going to mount, just like this. And now these you just put over the top, and you push them down, and you'll hear them snap in. Okay, all the way down there and down there. The other bracket on, same way. Okay, just make sure your clips are popped in all the way down as far as they can go in here, so you're not going to be hitting into anything. All right, and then what we do is we'll take some grease as well and put grease everywhere that the brake pad is going to touch. You put a little bit of grease on it. All right, and the last thing we're going to do is we're going to take out these slide pins right here, and we're going to lubricate these slide pins as well. I'm going to get a rag and we're going to clean these off. As you know, this has brake cleaner on it already. Just a little bit of grease, just like that. And very important is that they have to go back into the same holes that they came out of and make sure it slides all the way in. And we'll do the same thing on that one. Clean it off. Put it back in there like that, and make sure it pushes all the way in, which it did. All right, now we're going to take our brake pads. I will point this out to you as well. The brake pads are two different kinds. Now they look exactly the same, but you'll notice that this one has the indicator on it, where this one does not have the indicator. And the pads themselves, you can see they're shaped a little bit differently, so you know that they have to go a certain way. All right. Now, this is the brake pad that came off, and as you can see, there's the indicator, and that's what the same one we're going to put back on. And if you turn the shoe over, you'll notice that this was touching up against the back of the caliper itself, because you can see where the pistons were touching right here. All right, so this one we know is the inner one, and therefore this one is the outer. All right, now you can put the brake pad on here while you have this in your hand, or you could put it on in the vehicle. I'll try to do them here because it'll be a little bit easier here than trying to do it in the car. And that's how it goes, like that. Same thing here. You want to make sure that these clips are like that. And now they slide nice and freely in there. And we'll take this, we'll put it over the top like this, and then we'll squeeze these brake pads back together, like that. And then we're going to catch the bolts that we previously removed. Now these bolts, we're going to catch them both before we tighten anything up. We are going to look up the torque specs on these bolts because they do need to be torqued in. But for now, I'm just going to shoot it in with air until I can look it up. Hold your brake pads. All right, we will look it up and we will torque those down. But for now, we're just going to do it like this. We're going to take our caliper back off that we previously had hanging. And we're going to put a little bit of synthetic grease on every place that the brake pad is going to touch. Just like that. And here, and here, and here. All right, now we'll put the caliper back on. Push our slide pin in so we can get the caliper over the top. Just like that. You want to make sure that your brake line is not kinked as well. And again, we're going to tighten these up. You get them both caught by hand before you tighten anything. All right, so let's go over everything we did here. Okay. All right, so We made sure that the mounting surface underneath here was clean. We cleaned this all off so that it accommodated the new rotor. We put our mounting bracket back on. We lubricated the slide pins here and here. We installed our new mounting hardware here. We cleaned underneath there to make sure there was no rust. We lubricated every place that the brake pad is going to touch. We lubricated everywhere that the caliper is touching the brake pad, as well as on the pistons in here too. We tightened up those two 18mm bolts there and there, which we will torque properly. This is the 19mm that hold the caliper to the mounting bracket. We tightened those up as well. And that's it, we're all set. But this will be a video for another day. See this sway bar right here? This sway bar? You see something missing right there? He's got a broken sway bar link. But unfortunately, this guy is a Napa shop. He's actually Napa parts store. They don't have it in stock. They have to get it for us. So this will be a video for another day. Okay, that's it. You're all set. All right, now we're going to put the wheels on. We did the other side already, so that it's all finished. It's ready to go. Before you drive your truck away, make sure you get in there and you pump that brake pedal up. It's going to go to the floor probably 3, 4, maybe 5 times. Pump it until that pedal is nice and firm on top, and then you'll be able to drive it. But make sure you pump it up, because that pedal is going to go to the floor, and it'll scare the heck out of you if you try to move the truck and you have no brakes. All right, any questions or comments you need to talk to me about this job, send me an email. I'll be more than happy to talk to anybody about anything. As always, thanks for watching. See you on the next one. And we will do a video on that stabilizer link or sway bar link as soon as we get it in our possession. But for now, it's out the door and on to the next one. All right, thanks for watching. See you on the next one.